Aaron Tuttle here for Ferguson Roof Systems. For 43 years, Ferguson Roof Systems has been protecting Oklahoma's homes and businesses with quality roofing services. Their goal was to be the most honest and dependable roofing company in the state, all while providing free services such as lifetime labor warranty and annual inspections. Well, mission accomplished with thousands of client testimonials, an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, and a 5-star rating on Google. Look, the weather gives you enough to worry about, so why worry about who to trust with your roof? Call Ferguson Roof Systems today or find out more at fergusonroofsystems.com.
Hey everybody, Meteorologist Aaron Tuttle with you here on a Monday night about just under 9:20. We're going to spend about the next 15 minutes here talking about the latest with the weather forecast. Each of these broadcasts kind of gets shorter in length because we're starting to narrow down and fine-tune just some of the specifics, and there's more of a short-term range than always looking long-term. We kind of know long-term is going to be cold for a while. Like today, for example, lunchtime, we did a Facebook Live and talked a lot about the freezing drizzle and how long that would be around and the impacts. So we're kind of keep with that football, so to speak, and carry it on through for tonight. So thanks for joining me. If you haven't watched in a while, welcome back. And if this is your first time here, welcome, period. Thanks for joining AT's Weather. Be sure to like and share this video with your friends and family. You can do that right now as you watch it. Just tap the share button, and that'll help to get the organic reach going. Sherry's already dropping me some stars tonight. Thank you, Sherry. Deborah also in the house with some stars, so I appreciate that, ladies. If you'd like to join them, you can hit the stars button at the bottom on your Facebook phone or tablet or computer, right next to where it says the comment section. You guys on YouTube, I see us waving hands, waiting for Jim to show up. He's not there yet, and he's always there. Jim from Mustang. We'll see. He's probably just run a little bit late. I probably didn't get notified yet. Sometimes those notifications do run a little slow. All right, let's get on with the show, shall we? Okay, so first thing let's talk about is we still have a winter weather advisory, but it is now pretty much across the eastern half of the state, right along I-35 and then points eastward is where the National Weather Service has it. However, just because that's where the advisory is doesn't mean freezing drizzle has not stopped here in central Oklahoma. As a matter of fact, it's still ongoing, just not as heavy as it was prior, so that does mean bridges and overpasses here will be a problem. Wes Williams says, first time here. Do I get a Johnny's charcoal broiler? I see you, Wes. Welcome, brother. All right, so here's a look at the big picture. We're talking about the temperatures coming in from the north. So up here in Kansas, these red numbers are the actual temperatures. The green is the dew point. So we've got readings in these single digits up here in Kansas. I feel sorry for you guys. I mean, you guys got way worse than we do here in Oklahoma as far as temperatures are concerned and wind chills to boot. But down here, we've got the freezing fog and freezing drizzle. So all these little dashed lines you see on the map, these little equal signs, that's the symbol for freezing fog, or fog if it's above freezing, which it's not here in the body of the state. And then we get the little tilde signs, that's freezing drizzle. This little ASOS unit went nuts. It produced snow, but what it really means is freezing mist as well. So that's kind of how the weather map looks out there on the surface. We kind of zoom into that Oklahoma Mesonet. We've frozen over a lot of the anemometers. So you don't see the wind barbs anymore on the map because the freezing rain has got it all the way from Tulsa to just in the south side of Oklahoma City, back down toward Chickasha and Lawton. Everything down here frozen. So that just means that's where the ice is accumulated to prevent the little spinners from spinning. And you can see temperatures here, good grief, 18 degrees, 20 degrees. So it is cold. My goodness. All right, now take a look at the big picture. Let's look at the radar view. Plus, I kind of highlighted the dew point values. Dew point value kind of shows you where the Arctic air really puts the brakes on. So that's in this blue shading down here. It runs right just into the Dallas-Fort Worth area and points north and west. We'll take this off, and then we're going to look. The actual air temperatures are also plotted, by the way. They're single digits north, like I said, in Kansas, but Nebraska, they're in the negative numbers. -10, -11, -8. Dallas-Fort Worth about 40 degrees. Now, here across Oklahoma, as I mentioned, the freezing drizzle continues, but it's not nearly as heavy. Earlier we had some bright blue reflectivity. Now we just have this little gray patches that show up here. So that means it's a lot lighter than it was. But here's a report that came in just about 20 minutes ago of freezing drizzle here around Lake Arcadia up the turnpike. So we still have reports of freezing drizzle. It's just not as heavy, but you're going to have to be careful with temperatures in the teens overnight and low 20s, it instantly freezes on bridges and overpasses that are not treated. And just, you're going to have to keep that in mind. It's going to be kind of the thing we're going to be harping on all week long, really. And we'll take a look at the reason why. First off, ground temperatures are starting to cool down. So that's one of the key factors here for the rest of the roadways, not just bridges and overpasses. We've got into the upper 30s to mid 30s now, cooling down, some 40s here in southeast Oklahoma. So this is a key factor to help to allow the rest of the roads to freeze over, especially at nighttime. That's the easiest time for that to happen. And then of course you have to deal with some power outages too sometimes. OG&E is registering a little bit of power outages, about 1,500 across the state. You can go to my website, aarontuttleweather.com, and you can pull up the power outages there. What we're also going to show you is the Oklahoma road conditions, and you can pull this up on my weather app as well, AT's Weather to Go. It's a menu item on the tab. It'll take you right to this page where you can get the soil temperatures, and we can take a look at highway conditions out there across the body of the state. And usually, at least for today, we saw a lot of orange, which means severe slow go in many areas just because you got to watch out for ice. When the roads get completely closed, they'll change colors for you. And in any one of these, you can select these little pictures, these little photo icon symbols, and that will pull up truckers and other drivers that will show you what the conditions look like on the roads that they're actually on. And here in Oklahoma City, for example, we can also do the same thing with the traffic camera network. You can change this view and pull up Tulsa, Lawton, Purcell, statewide. I'll pull up Tulsa here just for an example. And you can pull up the cameras here. So this is, again, on my weather app, AT's Weather to Go, but you can get on my website, aarontuttle.com. So it's a vital tool to use if you have to travel around this kind of stuff. So the forecast, or the balloon sounding from earlier this evening in Norman that went up from the National Weather Service shows we are completely saturated from around 850 millibars down to the surface. That means the red line and green line meet. What is that? That's the temperature and the dew point, which means we have 100% humidity, saturation, which is why you get the clouds and why you get the drizzle. And then you can see this little notch here in the profile, which indicates the Arctic air. That's the thickness of the Arctic air. So it's not very thick. Arctic air is really shallow. That's a shallow layer, but that's what's given us the fit here for today. And I don't expect this sounding to change much overall. We're going to dry out some, and during certain periods of upcoming days, just enough to kind of maybe shut off some of the freezing drizzle, but not completely end it. Now, before I get to the forecast, let me show you a couple of key elements. Did I close those down? I believe I did, which means I got to open them back up. That's all right. Hold on just 2 shakes and we'll get them up there for you. The reason why is because it's important. We hit on this last night a little bit, and we're going to do it again today because I need you to know the ins and outs of this stuff. All right, load up, brother. Where is it? You can do it. There it goes. Come on, computer. Boy, it's moving slow. Okay, so don't let black ice sneak up on you. All right, that was our rule for today. You can use this rule all week long because we're stuck in this pattern through Thursday with off and on freezing drizzle. Can form on any road, but can also go on curbs and drainage areas, so you will slip and fall. You got to be careful. It's more prevalent at night, but obviously it can happen during the daytime, especially when it gets this cold. Don't drive during the freezing temperatures, after rain or snow melt, or in this case freezing drizzle, because sheet of ice is not fun to deal with. And this is an explainer as to why bridges and overpasses typically go first, and that's just because they don't have those warmer ground temperatures underneath it to kind of keep it melted somewhat, like maybe your neighborhood streets do. Like my driveway, for example, and the sidewalk is already frozen over just this afternoon, and the streets where they got the tar, it started to freeze over, but the actual street itself was okay. But that's kind of the misleading part. You know, some areas may be fine, and then other areas are going to be in trouble. Now, when you do look at your situation in a car, and there was a lot of accidents this morning today, people on the side of the road in the ditch. I saw a car fly off an overpass. I don't know how those people survived, but they did. My goodness, that was gut-wrenching to watch. So you've got to be slow on those bridges and overpasses. But if you find yourself in a situation, though, where you didn't pull the Dukes of Hazzard and you just slid off a little bit, but you can't get out of the ditch, or you need some help, here's a few things you can keep in your car: cell phone charger, first aid kit, jumper cables, spare tire, road flares, full tank of gas, of course. Sand or kitty litter is more likely for snow events, not necessarily for ice. Blankets, tow ropes, ice scraper, Flashlight, mittens, extra mittens, hats, boots, warm clothes, water, snacks, that kind of deal. So those are some good, helpful tips for you as we deal with this cold spell and if you find yourself stuck for a while. Let's take a look at temperatures. We're going to go with the short-term model here, show you how our readings tonight don't change much. We'll stay into the teens, single digits in Kansas. As we head into tomorrow morning, we're at about 18 degrees, about where we are now, 17 degrees, so not a big change overnight. We shouldn't drop more than a couple of degrees. And then as we head into tomorrow afternoon, we're going to rebound a little bit back into the low 20s maybe for parts of southern and eastern Oklahoma. Still in the teens across northern Oklahoma, so tomorrow is just a brutal day as well. You can see the cold air kind of puts the brakes on by the time you head toward Dallas-Fort Worth. So even though the cold air has made its way in, it's kind of eroding on the south end of it, so you guys will probably hover around the freezing point during the day tomorrow. As we head into Wednesday, we're still back into the teens in the morning and in the afternoon, back into the low to mid 20s as we try to rebound a little bit. So that's kind of how temperatures will look on the short term. There won't be a lot of wind over the next couple of days, but any wind at all is going to cause an issue with the wind chill value. So it looks going to be in single digits overnight tonight. Tomorrow in the morning, some negative wind chill values up north, especially in Kansas. We'll rebound in the afternoon a little bit into the single digits and teens. And then we're back into the single digits for Wednesday morning, and then Wednesday afternoon back into the teens. So you kind of get the picture. It's a repeat over and over here for Tuesday, Wednesday, into Thursday is how this pattern is going to shape up. And yes, you can see it getting progressively colder south of us into central Texas. Now, as far as precipitation is concerned, the models may not pick up very well on all the freezing drizzle. They typically don't. They finally gotten a little bit better an idea. Better late than never, right? But it does have a really good signal here across Missouri, parts of Arkansas here later in the period as well. But for the short term, it doesn't have anything too heavy here across the body of Oklahoma until we head into Wednesday morning. And then it really cranks it here across the eastern half of the state. Now lay caution to that because the overall sounding of the atmosphere, the profile shouldn't change much. So I do expect off and on bouts of freezing drizzle, just very, very light, only a couple of hundredths between now and Thursday. But when you add it all up, we're going to look at the amounts here. Let's go for the totals. Let's see here. Where am I going? Let's do this. So this will be the total ice accumulation during the period between now through Wednesday evening. And you can see a few hundredths here in Oklahoma City. All it takes is, by the way, all it takes is 1/100 to cause problems, all right? So you got 4 100s. That's 4 times the problem. If you look down in southern Oklahoma, North Texas, you got freezing drizzle that piles up here. So this is a light icing event, not like a big ice storm from the past. Yes, some of the elevated surfaces will have that little coating on it, but this is kind of more focused toward a road issue and travel issue. And, of course, you got southern Missouri and northern Arkansas, down to central Arkansas, seeing some problems here through Wednesday evening. We're going to expand this. We're going to go another day forward in time into Thursday morning. You can see some heavier accumulations now into Arkansas, Missouri. Heavier accumulations popping up here in eastern Oklahoma. Models are anywhere from a quarter to half inch of ice in some of these areas. Now that is a little bit more significant and more than just a road problem. Maybe not be enough for power outages as far as weight of the ice. It might be a close call in some instances, but more ice down here in the North Texas as well. So Dallas-Fort Worth, you're right on the edge of what the models are producing, the freezing rain. I think this will sag a little more south, though. I think this is a little conservative. So later in the period, I would suggest you guys be advised down there. You might have to deal with some bridges and overpasses in your neck of the woods as far as that kind of thing goes. Now, let's take a look at... We're going to do the temperatures extended and then the snowfall that's coming. And you say, Aaron, did you say snow? Yes, I did say snow. All right, let me jump into, here's Wednesday afternoon. I want to show you Wednesday because we might get to near freezing for the afternoon as some of this cold air tries to erode before the next reinforcing shot moves in. It's brief. It's like a highlight of the week. And the positive side, and that's about it. Otherwise, Thursday morning, we're back into the 20s. All right, so now let's go into the American model, and we're going to look at long term. And this came in, the new run is coming in as we speak. So we'll look back at the lunchtime run, and by the time we finish tonight, it won't all come in yet, but this hasn't really changed much. So we're heading to Friday. So here's, let's go into Friday morning. So there's Friday morning. We really start to cool down. We're in the single digits again, near 10 degrees here in Oklahoma City. As we head into Friday afternoon, we're still in the teens. So Friday's a brutal day. Saturday, that wasn't bad enough. It gets worse. We're in the negative numbers for actual air temperatures on Saturday, northwestern third of the state. We're pretty much right around a goose egg here in Oklahoma City for Saturday afternoon. Tulsa's close to that. They're about 3 degrees. As we head into the evening period into Sunday morning, this has been the coldest so far of the period as far as the models have indicated for us. We're at -7 air temperature here for your Valentine's Day morning. Valentine's Day itself, 2 degrees, a balmy 2 degrees here in Oklahoma City. All right, on backward time, we're back in the negative numbers for Monday morning. Does it get better? No, not necessarily. Here's Tuesday morning, back into some negative numbers. Anything positive coming out of this? I'm just going to go with time. You see all that purple? When you see the purple, you don't want the purple. Purple's bad. Here's Wednesday the 17th. Look at that. We're finally starting to warm back up out of the negatives into some positives. As we head into the 18th, some more negatives sneak in there, but then we're back into the positives again. So we're starting to see some slight improvement here in the long term. Look at that. The model actually thinks we'll be above freezing Friday the 19th. Now, until then, that's 11 days. So we're again a 10-day period here of below freezing temperatures and sometimes below zero temperatures. All right, and then we'll factor in the wind chill with that. I'm just going to jump to the weekend because that's the worst part of it that we've seen in the model data. So let's see. Here's let's just go into Saturday. So there's minus teens, minus 20s for wind chill values. And why is this important? I'm going to show you here in 2 seconds. All right, there's Saturday afternoon, wind chills in the negative 20s. Doesn't get any better, gets worse. Sunday morning wind chill, minus 30 degrees here in Oklahoma City, minus 26 Tulsa, Woodward, minus 33 out, and minus 40 in the Texas Panhandle, minus 40s here in the southwestern Kansas. You do not want to be outdoors at all on Valentine's Day, period. Case closed. Don't even try it. On Monday, doesn't really get much better. Wind chill values stay in the negative numbers. Eventually, this will get out of here as we head into Tuesday the 16th. We're finally starting to warm up a little bit. Winds calm down. No, they go back to the teens. Now that's in the morning hours. So that's pretty rough there too. But you get the drill. I don't need to go through all these steps. Just what's coming. Now, when I mentioned the wind chill, this is why this is important. So when you have wind chill values that are into the negative 20s, that's all you have to focus on here. Frostbite happens in 30 minutes. So that's why I'm saying you don't want to be outdoors. Frostbite will cause you to lose your limbs, your nose, your toes, your fingers, all that kind of stuff. So you want to stay indoors and stay very well wrapped up if you have to be outdoors, because otherwise hypothermia and frostbite will both be an issue they're going to have to contend with. And if you've never really dressed for this type of a cold pattern, you're not quite sure what to do, here's a little graphic for you for the extreme cold. Obviously, you're going to need a hat on top. Remember, a hat traps in the heat. So get you a little beanie. You've got about 100 face masks already around the house. Try to find you a clean one. 3 layers of clothes would be great. Coat, thermals underneath, something to break the wind. Boots, waterproof, if you have them. Gloves, 2 layers on the bottom. Maybe some thermals. So that's how you deal with the extreme cold if you're going to be outdoors in the elements. So anyways, another tip for you there. Okay. So what else do we have? We talked about the snow. We're just about wrapping up here, so just hang in there with me a couple more minutes, and then we'll be done. All right, let's get to the precipitation here. Now, this model has continued its winter precipitation signal for a while. At times, it was hard to pin down as far as the exact timing, placement, and amount. But each run, it seems to get more and more aggressive and produce more and more precipitation for Oklahoma. So there's the big snowmaker here coming in for Saturday the 12th. All right, so this is Friday night. It starts Friday evening and then picks up during the day on Saturday and moves out of here by Saturday night. And so there's nothing here Sunday morning. We go through Sunday dry, a little quick moving system Monday morning. That moves out of here, no big deal. And then later down the road, we might have another one, but we'll deal with that later. Now, what does the model produce snow-wise out of that? Now, keep in mind, this is going to change. This is a long ways out for snowfall forecast, but just to give you an idea of what this silly model is doing, for both events, we're looking at about 10 inches of snow here in Oklahoma City, 8 in Tulsa, 7, 8 in southwest, northwest Oklahoma. Now, the model also went very cold, right? Well, it also thinks it's going to have snow. So if for whatever reason this snow doesn't happen, at least to this degree, that does allow those temperatures not to bottom out as much. They're still going to be brutally cold. This is the coldest stuff since 1983, but at least it won't be as bad. But we're splitting hairs at that point. It won't matter. You won't know this difference anyway, as it looks right now. But that's a look at what could potentially occur here across Oklahoma as we head into our weekend. So the weekend looks to be just all-out mess. Now, between now and then, you see all these little spikes, these little 6-hour windows, and they're all about 1/100, 2/100s. There's 3/100s. Here's a peak of 4/100s. That's on the evening of the 10th. So that's the evening of Wednesday. So what is this? This is freezing drizzle. This is very, very light freezing drizzle. And you see how it continues all week long, all the way up through the 12th. This is why I'm telling you that there may be periods of time where the freezing drizzle stops, or at least you only get like a couple little things on your windshield, and that's about it. And it may allow those road conditions to improve briefly at times. The problem is timing it, because if at any point in time it starts to come down a little heavier, you're screwed. All right, just know that you're screwed. So when you're outside and you have to deal with that, you're just going to have to react quickly. I suggest use my weather app and look at weather radar trends just to see when it's starting, so you can avoid it. Now, if we do look at the overall ice accumulation, remember how I mentioned it'd be a problem here across parts of Missouri, Arkansas, and even North Texas. So here's a look at some of those model situations for the next 1 to 3 days. For the high resolution model, it does have some significant icing there in eastern parts of Oklahoma, about 1/4 of an inch or so in the red, and then it's about under 1/4 of an inch across the rest of Oklahoma and into North Texas. That does include Dallas-Fort Worth, pretty much almost down to Waco, and then out toward Abilene and western Texas. And then, of course, a lot more snow in that darker purple, a lot more ice in that darker purple shading up as you head east of us. So that is through Thursday. All right, temperature-wise, we mentioned it's going to be cold. Here's another look at it that you're used to seeing on your nightly news, your little 10-day forecast. This is going to take you to about 15 days. You can see that really brutal stretch here as we head toward Friday on through about Wednesday of next week. Overnight lows will be in the negative numbers, and a lot of this depends on how much snow we get as to how cold these numbers bottom out. But obviously, that's plenty of cold for anyone and everyone. Okay. I'm done. Good grief. What time was it? All right, it wasn't bad. It was about 15 minutes. Hey, I told you we had a lot to cram in. So thanks for staying up. I kept most of you. A couple hundred of you dropped off. You're like, that's too much. I try to do as fast as I can. There's just so much to talk about. But I get it. All right, a couple questions, and then we'll let you out of here. Let's see. Jim, yes, I actually mentioned the fact you're running late today. So disappointed. I'm just kidding. Glad you could make it. Always appreciate you guys' comments on YouTube. If you're on Twitter, Periscope, you want to shoot a quick question, do it really fast, and I'll try to answer it for you. On my Patreon page, as you guys can see, the broadcast is back up and running again. There's some issues with Facebook I got to figure out, but I got to work around until then. So always good to see your comments. So yeah, Katina, she's excited about it. Denise, hi, right back at you. And Jesse as well. And I'm going to go to the main page here and load up the main feed. I cannot see your comments past about the last 50. So if you have anything that you were asking me a minute ago, shoot it again real quick and I'll try to catch it. And for those of you folks that have been sending some stars, Jared, I see you. He's won some action in DFW. He's on a 2-week streak. So Carrie as well, appreciate you. Okay, so people are asking, I didn't touch base on this so far tonight. I did mention at lunchtime today, which is very important. So we're going to have an issue where the lakes, the rivers, the creeks, the ponds, all that freeze over. And the kids are going to go out there and want to play on it. They're going to want to test the ice. all that kind of stuff, because they're kids. I was once a kid, and I did the same thing. It's very dangerous, and this is probably the time you have that little parent-child conversation and say, just don't do it. You know, I don't care what Timmy down the street's doing. You don't do it, right? And if you see Timmy do it, let an adult know, because that's not wise for Timmy. I'm not picking on Timmy. I mean, it could be a Tracy. It could be an Andy. I'm just picking a name. But you get the picture. Now, the other thing is animals, of course. Now, farmers know how to deal with the livestock, and they tend to them. My concern more would be like you guys with your pets that are not used to this kind of cold. So those cute little doggies that you sometimes leave out, and you hear them barking, and you treat them like a child that cries, like your own child, and so you just tune it out. I'd suggest you not do that. Go ahead and bring them in, or put them in the garage, find a nice warm place, get a heater lamp, do something, but you can't leave them out there in the elements like that. This too cold, not this kind of a stretch. They won't like that at all. So Chad Bradley, my buddy, says it's slick, stay home. So yeah, the roads are still a mess out there. I'm sure they're only going to get worse. Lauren, yeah, ice skating on the lakes, that would probably be a bad idea. Now there will be, you know, some bodies of water, small ones especially, that do freeze over thick enough, I would guess, assuming we get as cold as we will, especially this weekend. But I would not test it. Just my personal opinion. You know, you can do what you want, but there'll be enough issues. Let's see. The other thing is, oh, cool, Glenna. You know what? I didn't even look at that. So she was telling me the Mesonet app has a cattle comfort index that they use it to determine their feeding patterns. Didn't know there was a cattle comfort. Now I do know. I learn something new every day. But that was an issue. What happens if you don't have power? I did bring up power earlier and how that would become a problem. So what do you do if you don't have power in the home? Well, if you can get a generator, obviously that's great. If you don't have a generator, well, you got to make do, right? So let's do this here real quick. So in this particular case, stay warming when the power is out. Little graphic here from the National Weather Service, and they suggest you close your blinds or curtains to keep in some heat. Close off rooms to avoid wasting heat. Wear layers of loose-fitting, lightweight clothing. Warm clothing, of course. Eat and drink, because food provides energy. The calories you consume actually create heat in your metabolism to keep you warm. Don't drink caffeine or alcohol during this period of time. And then stuff towels or rags under the cracks under the doors, you know, for those leaks of air. So those are a few things to try to help stay warm when the power's out. Hopefully, if you do find yourself in a situation, it will be short-lived and will not be a long-term deal, but that stuff may come in handy for some of you as we continue with this trek. So again, I want to appreciate everybody sending me the love tonight with those stars. They're very much appreciated. As a content creator, we work very hard for you. So this is a way that Facebook designed to kind of help give back in that aspect. YouTube does super chats, and then other platforms kind of coming around to try to do something for creators. So with time, there'll probably be some new options out there, but right now that's the way it works. So I do appreciate you guys taking advantage of that. Shelly's wanting to know about flights, problems, Thursday through Sunday. So I'm not charged of that decision making. You're just going to have to check with the airlines. Same thing with schools. I get this question about every time I go live here the last few days, which is, you know, what's going to happen with the kids at the bus stop and all that kind of stuff. Check with your school district, you know, their website, the email list, call. I'm sure they have a hotline, all that kind of stuff. You're going to have to check your own independent school district to find out what your kids need to do or not do as far as they're going to have classes and stuff. So I do not make the rules, nor do I know what the rules are in that particular case. I'm sure everybody's a little different. Okay. Cheryl's got an idea. If you don't have any power, get in your car and turn on the heater. Well, if you do that, do not leave your car in the garage with the garage door shut. That would be a bad idea. You'd probably go to sleep and not wake up. So keep that in mind. But as long as you got a full tank of gas, you know, that will work. And then if you can actually go to someplace warm, if the roads aren't horrific, you can do that as well. But, you know, in this particular case, everybody will make do and find a way to survive, basically, you know. Now, there will be an issue with the elderly. There always is in this type of a cold situation. And it's sad. There's going to be some loss of life, later this week and into next week, and just because of the brutally cold temperatures, it happens. And of course, there's going to be a loss of life likely for some of the kids that play on the ice that fall through. It happens anytime you have these types of deals, and even though we talk about it and we warn people, it's just nature of the thing. But at least the more we get out, on this, the information, hopefully the less of those do occur. But it is a serious situation, and it is a deadly situation, and those wind chills will not be pleasant this weekend. You do not want to be outdoors, and we'll see if we get the snow. That's not a locked-in thing right now, although confidence is building, and the model's getting more aggressive with it, which is good. I did not look at the other models for that output. I'll do that real quick, and then I'm going to sign off because I got some things I need to do. So let's do that real quick, and we'll see if the other models have any inkling of some snow on this weekend. Now, I've been going with the GFS this entire time because it has been the best model, which is odd. It normally does not do well in Arctic situations. But for whatever reason, it has just been nailing it. And the European has been out to lunch, which is normally a great model to go with, and I use it a lot for forecasting. So the European does have some snow coming in, but it's you can ignore the snow it's got on here through Thursday. It doesn't know that it's freezing drizzle, so it's out to lunch there. But as we head into next week, on Monday, it has a storm system coming in, producing a few inches of snow here in central and southwestern Oklahoma. So a little bit different look. It also has snow way down here into Texas and Dallas-Fort Worth as an example. Let's go with the Canadian model. We're going to see what it does. And it's similar to the American model, which it keeps kind of centered over the state of Oklahoma, but it also has a wide range from a dusting to a couple of inches, depending on where you live. So that's at least your take home from that is at least the other models are finally coming together at saying, yes, we'll have a decent system. Let's see the timing, though. Again, this is a Monday deal. So I got 2 for Monday, and I've got 1 for Saturday. That's a big discrepancy, so we're going to have to get some kind of cohesion coming there. Let's see. We'll do the UK Met as well. So the UK Met, it loves a big batch of snow here in eastern Oklahoma. And this starts on Thursday. What is it doing? Why is it doing snow Thursday? Oh boy. Let me go look at something. I don't see any signal as to why I should be dumping a ton of snow on Thursday. Just a little energy comes by, but that's nothing big. I don't know. That's a little weird. I'll have to look. That's the first time it's even produced anything, so we'll have to see how that model does tonight's runs and tomorrow morning. But at least it's something to look at. I like the American model so far, though, so what I'm kind of going with. So we'll expect some inclement weather here for the weekend, and then we'll just kind of have to wait and see. Maybe tomorrow I'll have a better idea on amounts and timing and all that stuff. At least we're getting closer. That's the best I can do. I'd like to do more for you, but I can only give you so much. So, all right, listen, I got to get out of here, but you guys have been great tonight. Thanks for hanging in there and watching. Probably do some Facebook Lives at lunch, which is right around 11:30 when I do go live. Make sure you have your notifications turned on. If you get a chance, you can still visit my website on the store tab and also my weather app, AT's Weather to Go. You can pick up a hoodie if you like somewhere in one of my zip hoodies. So you can pick up one of those real quick. So we still got another month of this cold weather before we finally start to warm up for the spring. But I appreciate you guys' support in any way that you do. And you guys have a great night. Sleep well. And we'll talk to you tomorrow.